Hey guys, been a week since I put out some videos of fishing with Tyler. I haven't done it ever in the past, but I'm going to show you guys my rod and reel arsenal as up till today. So today is, it's going to be Monday, February 19th, 2018. So we're going to get started here, and I've made some notes here because I don't want to, lead you astray on what rods I've got. So the very first thing I'm going to start out with is going to be one of my spinning rods, and this is going to be a Shimano Zodius 270 medium light, paired with a Stratic CI4 Plus 3000 series. The cool thing about the 3000 series and the Stratic and most Shimano rods or reels, there's a few that, don't get me wrong, there's some that are, but in the Stratic CI4 Plus, if you get the 3000 as opposed to the 2500, the only thing that you're going to do there is you're going to add more line capacity. The reel body and the reel spool and everything is actually, the same size, the same weight. It may weigh like 1 gram more than a 2500, but you're getting a lot more line capacity there. This rod right here is actually mainly used, as you can see here, I have a shaky head tied on here. I'm sorry that it's trying to focus on my face and not the bait. There we go. Just a shaky head rod. One thing that I will say about the Shimano Zodius stuff, that you need to invest in some hook keepers, because this Japanese design doesn't have a hook keeper, one, to keep weight down, and they don't use them a lot. So again, the very first rod is a Shimano Zodius 270 medium light. It's a 7-foot medium light action. Again, 3000 series Stratic CI4 Plus. This thing is amazing, one of my favorite reels. This reel is actually made for the Zodius rod. They mate together really well, and they are amazing feeling. Next rod we're going to talk about here is going to be a Loomis E6X 854C JWR, which stands for jig worm rod. Those of you guys that don't know about how this stuff works with the Loomis rods here, is they actually have a number on them. Like, again, like this one here is an 854C. That means it's 84 inches in length, 4-power rod. So if you guys are wondering what that means with Loomis, that's what it is. So again, 854, that means 85 inches in length. And this is a 4-power rod, so that's going to make this a 7'1" medium, or I'm sorry, a 7'1" heavy action rod, paired with a Shimano Corrado I-Series 200 HG, 7.2 to 1 gear ratio. Good all-around flipping and pitching rod, slightly smaller in length, 7 foot, as opposed to some others that I'm going to show you. Allows me to pitch in close quarters if I'm around brush or timber. Allows me to get in there. Those 7'6", 7'9", 8-foot pitching rods doesn't give you the option there to do that. But it also is used for a swim bait rod for me. If I'm throwing some big swim baits, it gives me the option there. So again, that is a Loomis E6X 854C 7'1" heavy action rod. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Loomis E6X 854C CBR. This is a crankbait rod. 854C CBR. This is actually pulls a lot of double duty for me. It's paired with a Shimano Chronarch 200 E5, which is a 5.5 to 1 gear ratio. A little slower than I normally like to throw. This is only 5 gear ratio that I own, reel period. This thing is a crankbait rod, but don't let it fool you. You can actually throw some topwater baits with this thing. If you want to throw a walking dog bait or a popper, you cannot go wrong with this thing. You have that nice parabolic bend with the crankbait rod that you're not going to have in a standard rod, so it allows you to let a fish load up on that before you set the hook. You're not going to rip it out of their mouth as well. I also have the 5 to 1 gear ratio rod there, reel, for the simple fact is I like to slow it down every now and again. And you can see these reels have been through it, man. I've fished these things for years. These E-Series reels, the Chronarchs from Shimano, are absolutely still one of my favorite reels to this day. You know, so they're extremely good reels. If you find them out there and you want to buy some used, definitely do it. Next rod we'll be looking at, this is a Shimano Zodius 172M paired with a Shimano Chronarch CI4 Plus. This is absolutely one of my favorite rods right now as an all-around rod. Super amazing. With the Zodius you get that, see if I can get it to focus there again, you get this really nice X-wrap. What that does, it keeps all of your guides in a straight line. It keeps your rods from twisting around itself. If you guys have watched my Shimano and G Loomis Conquest rod review, you'll also see that you can get that on there as well. But it keeps, all a fishing rod is nothing but a straw. You know, it's a circular straw. It comes up to a taper. What you do, if you take a straw and you bend it, what it's going to do, it's going to ovalize, and then eventually it's going to compress. And that's the way fishing rods, they get broke, they get, you know, you're going to have a lot of deflection in the rods like that. With that X-wrap, it doesn't give you that as much. Again, this is one of my favorite all-around combos that I own. You can throw Texas rigs on this thing. Spinner baits, shaky heads. Pretty amazing. 6:2 to 1 gear ratio with the reel. Super, super light. Absolutely one of my favorite rod combos that I own. I do have a rod review of just this rod, so if you're interested, go check out the other videos. You can see it there. Absolutely amazing rod. If you're wanting something to just get into the bait casting deal and you want to, you know, hop up into a little bit of better reel than in the Shimano line, the Chronarch CI4 it has been replaced by the Chronarch MGL. But they're still amazing rods. What you're going to get with this, or the MGL as opposed to this, you're going to get the micro module gearing there. Also have an external brake adjustment on most of these Shimano reels I've been talking about, so I want to make sure that's known. Next thing we're going to talk about is going to be kind of an all-around spinning rod for me, and this is going to be a G Loomis Walleye Series. The Walleye Series, it's a WJR 742S paired with a Shimano Sustain 2500 FD. This is actually the oldest rod and reel combo that I own. That's Shimano or G Loomis. Again, you can see here that so definitely a Walleye Series there. This thing is, you know, a lot smaller than anything that I own. The reason that I like this is it's a 6'2" medium. I do also do some walleye fishing in the summertime, so that's obviously my go-to rod for walleye in the summer times when I'm drifting for them. Really nice sensitivity. It's not so big and bulky you can't pack it around. If you're packing around, if you want to do some pond hopping, this is an excellent combination. You can see that I actually have it paired up with a shaky head, or I'm sorry, a wacky rig head. This is a Jackal wacky rig head, and this thing for that purpose is outstanding. The handle here on the rod is a little thicker up on top, which I didn't think that I would like immediately or initially. I've grown to love it, and again, this thing has been through it, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been beat up. This thing's probably 8 to 10 years old. I use it every season, and it's done really, really well. I've had no issues with this thing. Cleaned it, put some new line on it every now and again, and fish with it. That's why I like Shimano and G Loomis so well. Alright, let's make sure I'm on the list here, make sure I know exactly where I'm at. Alright, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to the G Loomis. If I can get the camera to focus here. There we go. This is a G Loomis 812C spinnerbait rod. It's paired with a Shimano 200E7 Chronarch 7.0 to 1 gear ratio. This combo is an absolute beast when it comes to spinnerbaits. However, one thing that I want you to make sure that you understand is that this rod right here is one of the absolute most well-rounded rods that Shimano makes, Loomis makes, sorry. You could throw topwater on this thing. You could throw spinner baits. You could throw light, you could throw Texas rigs. This is by far the absolute most well-rounded rod that I own in the Loomis model, especially for a bait caster. See that I have it paired up with some Power Pro braid, and the Power Pro braid there gives me the option to throw some topwater on it. Braid, it looks like it needs to be replaced, matter of fact. Just a quick tip, guys. If you are fishing braid and you know how expensive this stuff is, don't just throw it away. Don't just rip it off your line or off your reel and throw it away. What you can do is take another rod that you want to throw braid on, attach this line straight to the reel of the other one, and reel it off of the reel off of one, or onto one off of this one. Because let's face it, half of the stuff that you're going to be, using is only half of the line. A lot of times we just take it all off and throw it away, but what you can do is you reel this onto another reel and you're going to have the back half of this spool brand new. So keep that in mind for a tip. Again, great for topwater. One of the most all-around rods that I own that's really good. That's a Loomis 812C SBO, which stands for spinnerbait rod. Alright, next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys the newest collection that I've accrued over the past 2 years. One of those, I have 3 spinning rods, 3 casting rods, actually 4 casting rods I'm going to show you guys. This is the newest Shimano X-Age that I have. This is a Shimano X-Age XAS 68M, which is a 6'8" medium power, paired with this Shimano Ultegra here. This is a 3000 Ultegra. The reason I chose the 3000 as opposed to the 2500 is you get that really nice T-handle there. Super nice. You're going to get the Hagani body in a lot of these Shimano reels that I haven't been talking about. Hagani body is amazing. It's a composite material. But again, this is a X-Age, Shimano X-Age, and really good for really small crankbaits. I have a spinnerbait tied on here when I really want to slow down a crankbait, or I'm sorry, a spinnerbait, and throw it. Super light. There's a really good deal on these things going on at the tackle box this past weekend. If you missed them out on them, sorry about your luck. It was a really good deal, 79 bucks. But you can pick these things up for $89, I think. I think actually they're $99. Sorry, 99 bucks. But for $99 reel, you're getting a really nice cork handle, a skeleton reel seat. You have some EVA foam on the back, and the hook keeper is behind the reel seat, which I really like. And again, that's the 6'8" medium X-Age. Next, I'm going to have another X-Age here, which is going to be a 7-foot medium X-Age, and it's actually paired with a 2500 Nasi reel. The Nasi is one of the nicest reels that you can get in for this price point, no matter what you're talking about or what manufacturer you're looking at. This is a 7-foot medium power. It has a fast action. Really good for throwing 1.5s when things are really finicky and you want to see, you want to slow down with things with the spinning reel. Really good for really small, like flukes, soft jerk baits, and that nature. Is a 7-foot rod. Does have a lot of a potential. Shaky heads, drop shots. This is a really good all-around spinning rod. All right. Last but very much not least, we're going to get into the newest collection that I own. They've all been bought. Actually, those X-Age were bought last year. All these rods have been bought in the same time frame last year up until I just purchased one yesterday. So I'll talk to you about that. The next one we're going to talk about is going to be this is a Loomis NRX 852S JWR jig worm rod pair with a Shimano Ceres 2500. Has Power Pro Super Slick 30-pound braid on there down to a Sunline 10-pound leader. This is, excuse me. This is one of the best all-around fishing rods, in my opinion, as far as a spinning rod that you can purchase. This thing is absolutely a beast. All NRX rods come with a reel sleeve or a rod sleeve on there. I've used this thing for, as you see here, I have it paired up with a Ned rig. Shaky heads, so shaky heads really well. As you can tell, I use shaky heads a bunch. Drop shot, you can do really well with that. Texas rig, if you like a Texas rig with a spinning reel or spinning rod, that is an amazing. This is an amazing rod to do it. You're also, going to get some advantages of throwing like a soft jerk bait. You could possibly even throw a hard jerk bait depending on how big it was. By far, one of my favorite spinning rods. And like I said, if you guys never fished an NRX and felt the sensitivity difference between this and any other rod, they're amazing. The Conquest ahead of is the flagship model of the Loomis rod line, and they are stellar. NRX, amazing as well. All right, next up we have a Loomis 853C JWR. This is one bad rod, man. This thing right here is awesome. As I mentioned a second ago, NRX rods are second to none other than the Conquest, and you're getting the same sensitivity as this as a Conquest. This is again 853C JWR paired up with a Shimano Chronarch 200E6, which is a 6:5 to 1 gear ratio. Used mainly for spinner baits, small swim baits like the Jackal Rhythm Wave that you see here. I have it paired up with an underspin. Extremely good combo there. One of my favorites actually. And again, all Shimano, or I'm sorry, Loomis NRX rods come with their own rod sleeve. Alright guys, let's talk about this year's purchases. This is a Shimano Zodius 172 medium heavy. Medium heavy, 7'2" rod is going to be paired with a new Shimano Corrado K series in the 8:5 to 1 gear ratio. This is going to be a flipping and pitching rod. I'm going to be throwing some creature baits, be pitching some small jigs, also doing some Texas rigging if I want to throw a big worm, or this is going to be an absolute beast Carolina rig. The reel is actually in my boat. My boat's in the shop, so I can't show you the reel, but it is going to be a Shimano Corrado K series and 8:5 to 1 gear ratio. Super amazing rod. Next rod I'm going to be talking about is going to be the Loomis NRX 894C JWR jig worm rod, which is going to be paired up with a Shimano Chronarch 150XG MGL. You can see it doesn't have light on. It's brand new. Was bought for Christmas for me. Loomis NRX. This thing is going to be a flipping and pitching machine. 7 to 1 gear ratio. Get those things out of there. I kind of kicked myself in the butt for not buying the 8 gear ratio, but I wanted to be able to have this thing in case I wanted to throw a swim bait or something on it. I could do that. This thing is actually a 7'6" rod. This is one of the longest ones. Actually, I'm 7'5", not 7'6", but this is actually one of the longest rods I've ever owned. 7'5". But it's going to allow me to get those flips and pitches out away from the boat with a little more ease. Brand new for this year. And last but not least, I just purchased a setup yesterday at the Tackle Box Open House. I needed a rod to throw big crankbaits on. 5, 6XDs, something that gets down a little bit. I have some crankbait rods, but throwing a crankbait that big will make you super tired if you're not careful. So enter the brand new to me Loomis imx-pro. This is a 906C CBR, which is a crankbait rod, paired with a Corrado K 200, which is a 6:2 to 1 gear ratio. This thing will be launching big crankbaits soon. 6XD is not going to know what hit it. You throw this thing. Another good thing, you can potentially throw a chatterbait on this. It still has a lot of backbone. But it has a nice tip, so if you wanted to rip it out of grass or whatever you're fishing the chatterbait in, a lot of times I'm fishing a chatterbait in grass, so it's going to allow me to get that chatterbait out of there. And you can see this thing has an extremely long handle, so you're going to be able to really whip this thing, get that bait out there where you need it to get to. The longer the cast you make, the more water you're going to cover, and it's going to be a lot nicer of a crankbait day for you, especially if you're throwing those big crankbaits. This Corrado K series is a new reel. Micro module gearing, man. If you wanted micro module gearing before, you had to buy the Chronarch MGL, which is a $269 reel. You can pick these things up for $179, which is a really, really good deal for a micro module gearing reel from Shimano. Super, super smooth. But that is all I have for you guys. That is all the reels and rods that I own at this point. If you have any questions about anything that you see there, or want to know more about any of those rods, drop me a message below or PM me. I will get to you, answer your questions as best as possible, and if I don't know the answer, I will find somebody that does. So guys, thanks for watching this episode of Fishing with Tyler. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the water.